With us is Al Petrelli from Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I realize, Al, that the numerous times that I have seen the show, I have always talked with Paul O'Neill. And he's the one that does the East Coast shows, and I don't think I've seen him since he played the Fox Theater, when you guys played the Fox Theater back in like 2000, 2001.
Yeah, no, that's going back a ways, huh?
You're the guy that does the St. Louis show, so it's great to actually finally talk to you once.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you as well, sir. Thank you for having me on this morning.
You know, I have seen your show numerous times. I think one of the last times I saw you, you had a broken leg, or do you remember you were nursing the one of the legs or something? You did one of those little intimate things where you just sat on a stool and, hey, how you doing?
Well, I decided at the opening show that particularly, I think it's about 4 or 5 years ago now, that I was going to jump off the high riser like a 25-year-old. And when I landed, it came crashing down around me that I was 46.
Yeah, it's strange how old age kind of catches up with all of us now.
Yeah, dude, this was not on the AARP card application. You know what I'm saying? It was like, really? So what I ended up doing is breaking my leg and tore my ACL apart.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That's a good way to do an 8-week tour in the winter.
I was going to say, too, you guys do, 105 concerts in 63 cities. You guys have actually perfected the cloning.
Yeah, no kidding. That was an accident. I mean, it's such a grueling schedule that, you know, I take pride in the fact that I work and train all year long just so I can get through the schedule. Because basically, I don't know how many other bands on the planet could say that we do 2.5-hour shows a day. 4 days a week. So, you know, you talk about sometimes 8, 9 shows in a row.
Plus move from state to state, you know.
Yeah, plus our crew is the real unsung heroes. I mean, they're the guys who got to load 18 tractor trailers full of stuff every day and then unload it every morning at 5 a.m. So without them, we're dead in the water. So it really has become what's grown up since 1995, which was just a really great idea musically with my boss, Paul O'Neill, who created this thing. That little bit of a lightning strike back then has launched into this massive undertaking, and I'm just proud to be part of something that's grown up so well. It's like having one of my kids grow up that I actually like.
Now, you're doing 2 shows in St. Louis at the Scott Trade Center, the 27th, the Thursday night. You're doing a Thursday 3 o'clock and a Thursday 8 o'clock. We're going to try to round up the entire all-star family to come out to one of your shows, too.
Oh, I hope so. That'd be so nice to see them.
Now, you're doing something a little bit different. For years past, you guys have done the Christmas Eve and Other Stories. You're doing Lost Christmas Eve this time. Yeah. So a lot of the songs that I'm familiar with, the ones, of course, I have all your CDs and such, but the songs, the Old City Bar, and those ones, we're going to have to wait for another year for you to do that one again. Lost Christmas Eve, what's the storyline behind that one?
Well, it's another one of Paulie's great rock operas that he'd written, which, you know, in a very Frank Capra-esque way for the holidays. Basically a story about loss and redemption. I mean, we all, the short story would be, you know, a mistake that's made, you know, in the heat of anger, that you, it haunts you for a good part of your life, and you hope that you have the wherewithal to make a correction later on. And I know that one of the lines in the narration that gets me every night, you know, and like you and I just spoke about, is we're getting a little bit older, other things are becoming a bit more important or poignant to us, is the narrator, our guy Philip Brandon, turns around and goes, is there any act so horrible that can undo all the good you've done in your life, or is there any act so good that can undo all the bad? You know, so with that kind of overview, that's kind of what this is about. And I remember recording this record back in 2002, 2003, I think, and saying, you know, these songs are amazing, the story's beautiful. And then when we finished it, we kind of put it away because we were going back on the road doing the Christmas Eve and Other Stories tour. And we had performed a couple songs from this record over the years. The Wizards in Winter, which was the big one that the guy programmed his lights to in his house. Did you ever see that one on the internet?
Yeah, you know, that's just what I was going to ask you that question as far as Wizards in Winter has become so identifiable. I mean, it was part of a beer commercial for years. But how do you feel like having your songs blasted through neighborhoods to have the pulsating lights in conjunction with your music?
It's awesome. You know, I'll be driving around, and all of a sudden I'll hear like my guitar screaming out of somebody's fireplace. It's like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Very cool.
You know, when I was a kid, we would drive around, you know, with my mom's car, wherever we'd be going, and there was literally garage bands back then. I mean, in the early 70s, that's what you did. You set up and you'd play like, you know, the Doors or the Allman Brothers or whatever in your mother's garage. So I was used to hearing, you know, loud rock and roll as a kid growing up on Long Island. Now to have something that I've had a hand in help creating and help recording being played, you know, at people's homes or throughout the holidays, or they're in their car, or it'll be in an office building. I mean, what's that show on TV, The Office, or
Right.
They talk about TSO there. I mean, I have two ex-wives that are TSO fans. I mean, so I'm doing something good if people that can't stand me love my music.
Now, one of the songs it's from the new gig that you're doing, and that happens to be Wish List. And that's
a good one.
That is just it's all, of course, piano intro. It's just fabulous. One of my all-time favorites. I'm glad to see that's part of the show. I'm glad it hasn't been bumped from the list. Thank you.
No, that's in there too.
Other things that we should be looking for. Now, for anyone who has not seen a Trans-Siberian Orchestra show, you are really missing out. As people tell me, they always ask, what is your favorite concert? I always say Trans-Siberian. And the reason why, it's a culmination of so many things. It's like an Andrew Lloyd Webber play. It is like a Pink Floyd light show. And plus, you wind up getting a real nice tan as a result. You get laser.
Yes, sir, you do.
You get eye laser surgery and a tan.
Well, yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's over the top. I mean, the background behind it is that Paul and I grew up in New York, okay? And two institutions that were paramount in our upbringing musically. One was Madison Square Garden. So you had, the Stones and Aerosmith and Alice Cooper and the Allman Brothers and The Who and Pink Floyd and all these amazing bands that were rolling through town in the 70s, okay? And they would bring in the Great American Rock Concert to that beautiful building, So we would go see these bands because there was no MTV. There wasn't a whole lot of ways to see your favorite rock stars back then, other than going to see them live. And not only did you want to hear them replicate the songs that you that you held in such reverence, but you wanted to see, okay, what was Rush going to do? How could they bring more lasers in? What did you mean that Pink Floyd's going to build a wall? What's the Who going to do next? What backline is Zeppelin going to have? How many Marshalls can Jimmy Page possibly put on the stage this year? What's Kiss going to do? So it became the production and the music hand in hand became the biggest thing in our lives at that time. And Paul and I would go out. We'd like scalp tickets. We'd beg the roadies, let us wash your truck so we can sneak in the back door. Anything just to get in. We were addicted to it and still are. The other institution was about 20 blocks straight north up Broadway, which is the theater district. And Paul, his fascination with Broadway and theater and Andrew Lloyd Webber and people like that and productions like that and the intimacy of a 600-seat theater versus 18,000 seats in an arena. Somewhere in between those two, Paul went, aha, there's something here. And if you fuse together all these incredible classical themes and all this amazing music that he and his partner John Oliva write, and you wrap it all up with the greatest production on the planet, that would be just like the first paragraph in foreshadowing, I think, what Trans-Siberian Orchestra really is.
Oh, absolutely fabulous things. I'm looking forward to your show. Once again, the 27th, 2 shows in St. Louis, 3 o'clock, a matinee for the kiddos, and then an 8 o'clock show. Fabulous show. It's one of those things that it's Christmas time when Trans-Siberian comes to town. Also, I understand you got a new EP coming out, or you have an EP coming out called Dreams of Fireflies on a Christmas Night. Real quick plug for that.
Well, basically what that was is Paul and I were in the studio recording this new rock opera he had written with John called Romanoff. And on that, there was a couple songs we started putting together, and they were coming out so amazing that he decided to, foreshadow this record, along with a couple other songs for the winter tour that he had written. But he just wanted to put some new music out. So, folks in your listening audience have something to listen to on the way to the show. And at the show, it's a brand new show as well. So there's new stuff all across the board.
All right. We're speaking with Al Petrelli, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, one of the greatest guitarists I've ever heard. One of the greatest one of the greatest shows you will ever see. Make sure you get yourself tickets to Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Plus $1 from every ticket goes to charity. They've done that in the past. I saw them do it here in St. Louis. They'll do it again. Great man, great story, and a fabulous, fabulous act. Al, Merry Christmas. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
I can't wait. My best for your family, and I hope to see you soon, brother.
God bless you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, and you too.